Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. There's a sensational new twist in the liquor scandal surrounding Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia. The Delhi's Deputy CM Manish Sisodia today claimed the BJP had offered to shut all cases against him if he was ready to split the Aam Aadmi Party, leave Kejriwal, and we'll make Sisodia, the Delhi's chief ministerial candidate, was allegedly the offer from the BJP. This comes at a time when the Enforcement Directorate has stepped into the case and the BJP is upping its ante against Kejriwal's deputy. The Saffron Party alleged that Sisodia, as head of the Excise Department, ignored key recommendations of the draft committee on the new policy. They alleged that Sisodia's plan led to a loss of at least 900 crore rupees to the state exchequer. Listen in to that stunner of an allegation made this morning by Manish Sisodia.
पार्टी तोड़ के बीजेपी ज्वाइन कर लीजिए और हम आपको सीएम बना देंगे, क्योंकि हमारे पास में कोई सीएम कैंडिडेट नहीं है वहां पे दिल्ली में भारतीय जनता पार्टी में। इनकी सच्चाई तो मैं जानता हूं, क्योंकि ये सारे केस फर्जी हैं। मैं एक ईमानदार आदमी हूं। इनफैक्ट मैं अरविंद केजरीवाल जी की टीम में हूं ही इसलिए कि मैं एक कट्टर ईमानदार आदमी हूं। और रही सीएम कैंडिडेट बनाने की बात, सीएम बनाने की बात, तो मैंने स्पष्ट किया कि मेरा सपना सीएम बनना नहीं है।
Now, interestingly, Manish Sisodia invoked Maharana Pratap while making those allegations. He said, I won't bow to the corrupt conspirators because I'm a descendant of Maharana Pratap and I'm a Rajput. That tweet came hours before he and Arvind Kejriwal landed in Gujarat for the party's election campaign there. This is why the timing is significant, ladies and gentlemen. In 2017, 45% of the Rajput community voted for the BJP and the Congress each. A chunk of voter base the Aam Aadmi Party is perhaps eyeing in the state. Timing suspect or not, the allegation only made the war of words between the Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP way more fierce. Refuting Sisodia's bribe charge, BJP leaders said such statements were born out of abject desperation of a party that cannot get itself to answer the specific charges leveled against them. But the Aam Aadmi Party sources now claim that they have evidence of the offer being made as the call in question to Sisodia has been recorded. Hear the war of words that has erupted.
उनका सरकार तोड़ने का सबसे बड़ा हथियार है उनकी केंद्र सरकार की एजेंसियां। फॉर्मूला बहुत सिंपल है। जिस पार्टी को तोड़ना है, जिस सरकार को तोड़ना है, सबसे पहले उन पर केंद्र सरकार की अलग-अलग एजेंसियों को छोड़ दो। उनके ऊपर सीबीआई का केस करो, उनके ऊपर ईडी का केस करो, उनके ऊपर इनकम टैक्स का केस करो। उसके बाद भारतीय जनता पार्टी जाके उनके नेताओं को ऑफर देती है कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी में आ जाओ, सारे केस बंद हो जाएंगे। तो एक तरफ धमकाया जाता है और दूसरी तरफ लुभाने का प्रयास किया जाता है।
कहने लगे कि मेरे पास एक संदेश आया है भाजपा का। मैं इतना ही कहूंगा, जिनकी नीयत खोटी है, सोच छोटी है, उनको कोई क्या तोड़ेगा। आपका अहंकार तो दिल्ली की जनता तोड़ रही है।
But despite the political onslaught and the investigation, news tightening, the Aam Aadmi Party is steadfastly standing behind its Deputy Chief Minister in Delhi. Arvind Kejriwal went as far as to say that someone as acclaimed as Sisodia, with the education model that he had presented, should be awarded India's highest civilian award, the Bharat Ratna. Listen it.
ऐसे व्यक्ति को तो भारत रत्न मिलना चाहिए। मनीष सिसोदिया को गलत तरीके से सताया जा रहा है। उनको अब 3-4 दिन में इनको गिरफ्तार कर लेंगे। गिरफ्तार, 1 मिनट, गिरफ्तार करने का क्या नतीजा होगा? 3 महीने 4 महीने तक शिक्षा व्यवस्था सफर करेगी। किसके फायदे में है ये? पूरा केस फर्जी है। किसको फायदा होगा? हम काम रुकने नहीं देंगे, लेकिन थोड़े दिन के लिए बाधा तो पहुंचेगी।
You've heard the political punch-up, but the legitimate question we're asking on the Newshour tonight. Should Sisodia produce the evidence, author and suspended Congress leader? But my first question goes to Mr. Saurabh Bhardwaj, MLA and national spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party. And Mr. Saurabh Bhardwaj, I want to ask you, it's a very serious charge that has been made by Mr. Manish Sisodia and Mr. Kejriwal. It's not to be taken lightly that there was a phone call from a senior BJP leader asking Mr. Manish Sisodia to actually break the Aam Aadmi Party and join the BJP. And he says that he has this in a text message as well as a phone call. So I want to ask you, Mr. Saurabh Bhardwaj, what's taking so long for you to put the evidence on the table? Let the whole country hear the shenanigans that the BJP is up to?
Yes, Navika, I totally agree with you. And if I had been journalist in your place, I would have been asking the same question. But I think you must understand that every political party has its own way of disclosing things. We are in the public domain. We cannot, we have made claims earlier also. I'd like to remind everybody that in 2014, we made a claim against the same BJP that they are trying to buy our MLAs for 5 crores each. People laughed at us, like Mr. Gaurav Bhatia was saying, why will BJP buy their MLAs? And we proved it. We did a sting operation of the vice president of BJP, where he was offering our Sangam Vihar MLA, Mr. Dinesh Mohania, in a sting operation, 5 crore rupees. And we proved it. When Mr. Arvind Kejriwal said that soon there will be a ED raid on Satyendra Jain and he'll be picked up, people said, oh, you have sources. How do you know? And it happened. Mr. Satyendra Jain is in jail. Then Mr. Kejriwal said that the same thing will now happen to Manish Sisodia. Again, it was like, oh, this Kejriwal is bluffing. He's just trying to get sympathy. He's just trying to get attention. And it has happened. There has been a CBI raid. CBI people were at his place for 14 hours. Every day in a press conference and in TV debates, the BJP spokesperson tells us, 1-2 दिन रुको, तुमको उठाएंगे, जेल में जाएंगे, चक्की पीसेंगे. So I think you have to wait for the thing. And I agree, yes, the party should show the evidence and we will show the evidence. That's our promise to you and to the media fraternity.
GVL Narshimha Rao, they know everything that you're doing. They know when you're going to send the ED, they know when you're going to send the CBI, they even know how soon Mr. Sisodia will be arrested, they know who will be the next minister targeted, and they also know and have recorded a phone call. GVL Narshimha Rao, now most people in the opposition know when you're going to attack them because that's exactly what you've been doing. That's the charge against you. Respond to all of these charges.
Navika, I think this is a classic case of deflecting the real issue. The government, the Aam Aadmi Party government in Delhi is caught in a major scandal. And indirectly or they have already accepted their guilt without answering any questions related to the liquor gate. They are only trying to divert public attention by raising issues which are nothing to do with and also imagining and conjuring up things. Have they answered why they have, if Manish Sisodia is claiming that we have done no wrong, This is victimization. If they have done no wrong, why did they cancel the liquor policy on July 28 after the scandal broke out?
I can answer that.
And after the LG sought investigation on 23rd of July, why did they? If you have done no wrong, what is there to fear? Why did you withdraw the policy? Question number one. Please answer this question. Answer number two. Is it not a fact that the Chief Secretary of Delhi Government on July 8 stated in a report that there were gross violations and undue benefits were provided to liquor licensees through this policy, faulty policy, rather a fixed policy? Does the government have an answer? Their own
Yes,
top bureaucrat has stated in a report. This is what has appeared in the media, entire media. Why did the State Vigilance Department, have they not stated in a report? This is again, all media reports have published it. Did they not say this policy has been completely tweaked or fixed to suit certain individuals and to give unauthorized benefit to some people? Why is Kejriwal running away from these questions? Why is Manish Sisodia running away from these questions? They are talking about everything else except these questions. Why was 150 rupees crore turnover fixed for giving licenses, for retail licenses?
Many questions. Saurabh Bhardwaj is willing to answer all of these questions. Why the U-turn? Why did the government give away, the liquor vents to private enterprise? Why were the commission rates raised from 2 to 12%? Has the loss, estimated loss that has been pegged at around 900 crores by the BJP, are these figures right? And what was the intention in making such windfall gains for private individuals? Saurabh Bhardwaj.
Navika, I just want to promise Mr. GVL that I am here to answer all your questions. Just give me time, because usually a question paper is shorter and the answer sheet is longer. What BJP expects is that my answer should be as short as the question. So the first question is, why was the policy taken back? Now you should understand the genesis of this policy. Navika, in the earlier policy, that was in 2020, it was there for last 14 years, the liquor shops in Delhi were almost 849. And as you know, because you also stay in Delhi, there were certain areas in Delhi where there were a lot of liquor shops. Like there was a mall in East Delhi where there were only 18 liquor shops in one mall. There were certain wards, like my ward in GK, which had lot of liquor shop. And there was almost 40% area in Delhi, like Sangam Vihar, Tughlakabad, Chhatarpur, Badli, Narela, Buradi, Kiradi. 40% of the area did not have any licensed liquor shops. Now, obviously, people were buying liquor. And they were buying liquor which was non-licensed, without duty paid, and government of Delhi was losing liquor duty on that. We were losing excise duty. Because anybody who wants to drink will drink. If you don't give him through a licensed shop, they will buy it from Haryana, they will get it from smuggled ones. So there was a liquor mafia running in these unauthorized, non-conforming zone. What this policy said, which was the genesis of this policy, was we will distribute these 849 shops without increasing the number of shops across Delhi, so that there is no area which doesn't have a licensed shop. Now we did that. On the basis of that, we invited tenders. Delhi was divided into 32 zones, 32 tenders were invited. The highest bidder got the license for one zone. Earlier, we used to get 6,000 crores in excise revenue. In this tender, we got bids which added up to 9,500 crores, almost 50% more than what we used to get, as an advance promised by the licensees that they will deposit 9,500 rupees as excise license fee to the government, and they also deposited 25% in advance. Now they were opening their shops. In November, on November 17th, when they had bought shops, when they had bought items, when they had put liquor, 2 days before pushing this policy into action, the Honorable LG said, no, I will not allow these liquor shops in this 40% area of Delhi, which was earlier unserved, and because now it was served through licensed shops, the bids increased from 6,000 to 9,500. Now all these liquor licensees felt cheated and they went to High Court. In Delhi High Court, there were half a dozen petitions by almost all the liquor licensees saying that the government cheated us. We were promised 100% area and now the government is saying that we will give you only 60% area, 40% is out of bounds. The Delhi High Court pulled up Delhi government. After 2-3 days,
why Chief Secretary?
They gave. I'm telling you. The Delhi High Court passed an order.
Why were you unable? No, come on, please don't give us a long lecture.
No, I'm telling you.
Please
I'm
tell
telling
us
you the story.
Why? No. Why was there violations?
You just want to ask questions. I will answer every question.
Come on, answer the questions. Pointed questions.
I will answer.
Why did you benefit certain large? Why did you benefit certain large wholesalers? Why did you increase their margin? Why does Chief Secretary's report say that there were gross violations? And above all, why did you withdraw the policy? If you can defend it, why did you withdraw it? Please answer all the questions. There is no need to go into a long lecture.
Look, Mr. GVL Narshimha Rao, I am stating facts.
No, please tell us why were the profit margins increased?
Let me tell, boss. You can't.
Not nervous. You are giving us the answer.
Okay. Why were the commissions raised from 2% to 12%? Answer that.
Okay. Oh, I'm answering that also. Now, let me just complete. Now, when 30% of the fee was ordered by the High Court to be returned back to the licensees, that's how the government's revenue fell from 9,500 again back to the same position. First thing. So government started incurring losses. Secondly, now the question which Navika asked, why was the percentage of commission increased for some distributors? I mean all the distributors. Earlier, Navika, the license fee for becoming a distributor in Delhi was rupees 8 lakhs. And you can confirm it, you can do a fact check. When we brought a new policy, we increased this license fee to almost 100 times, we made it 5 crores. So that the government doesn't have to count the bottles which they are selling. We are telling them that you pay us duty in advance. We don't want to do, enforcement on you. The same thing we did on the retailers also, that we don't want to do enforcement on you. You tell us in advance how much you will pay us. Now when the distributor said that we will pay you 5 crores, now instead of last policy, we used to get almost 6 to 7 crores from the distributors. In this policy, we got 50 crores in advance from the distributors. In lieu of that, we said that now you can recover these 5 crores by increasing your commission.
By the end of this entire explanation, GVL Narshimha Rao and Saurabh Bhardwaj, all of us will be so well educated that we will all want to open liquor vends of our own, because that is the detail of information. But Ishkaran Bhandari, the questions that still remain unanswered. Number one, I'm coming to you, GVL. Questions that still remain unanswered. 1 minute, please. Number one, why was earnest money deposit given back? Question number two, why were extensions given when April the policy or the appointed liquor vends had finished their contract? Why was it increased unexplainedly for 4 months? Again, an unanswered question that remains is show cause notices were issued to these guys in 2021, but nothing happened after that. And we all know, I don't have to spell it out, but ek show cause notice when you show to somebody and then do nothing about it, we all know what can happen behind the scenes. So, Ishkaran Bhandari, I want to ask you. Also, Saurabh Bhardwaj made a statement that even if 40% of Delhi doesn't have, जिनको पीना है वो तो पिएंगे, चाहे हरियाणा से लाएं चाहे कहीं और से लाएं. सो इसलिए जिनको पीना है पिएंगे तो 25 से 21 कर दो पीने की एज. जिनको पीना है सो तो पिएंगे तो आप टाइमिंग इंक्रीज कर दो सारे लिकर वेंट्स के. जिनको पीना है वो तो पिएंगे तो हम आपके लिए फैसिलिटेट कर देंगे पीना. नाउ मॉरली and also on account of the scam that is being alleged. Do you think the new policy made sense, and if it did, why was it taken back?
Navika ji, for 2 days there has been a lot of confusion, so let us declutter it and put it into 2 brackets. First bracket, which I must compliment Aam Aadmi Party has done very well. What is this case not about? This case is not about a New York Times article, whether it is a pro-Pak, anti-India newspaper, and how after 20 years suddenly they do a extremely complimentary piece about one city-state. It is not about New York Times. It is not about seeking refuge under the great Maharana Pratap. It is not about seeking refuge under the great Bhagat Singh. It is not about Delhi's education policy, and sans proof, it is not about trying to break the party. Unless they have proof, then yes, they can register a criminal case, and that would be a valid debate. So it is not about all these categories. What is this case about? Now let us focus on that. Firstly, if earnest money was returned, was it returned after a court order? Since when does government become so generous it starts returning earnest money? Anybody dealing with the government doing tender or contract work knows how difficult it is to get money back from the government, be it any government. I am not talking about Delhi government here. It is well nigh impossible without court orders to get it back. Secondly, were GNCD ki transaction of business rules, Delhi Excise Act, Delhi Excise rules violated or not? It is about that. Thirdly, was 144 crore waiver given or not? Fourthly, even assuming 40% of Delhi is not covered, let us be very clear, Delhi is a very small area, densely populated, densely everybody travels to work. It is not like a huge state that if you don't have vend in 20% or 30%, it will really affect your revenue. After every 5 miles or every 5 kilometers, constituencies change. But that is a policy decision. Even if the LG, before you implemented the policy, you know the powers of the LG, did not agree with it, then did you deliberately roll it out to benefit certain people? Why was the policy not scrapped then? And why is the policy now being scrapped after the CBI is investigating it? All these are relevant questions. But let us be very clear. If AAP can make it about the category 1, the case it is not about, aided probably by their massive advertisement budgets, then they will get some benefit. The onus is on BJP to make it about category 2 and also on CBI to do a fast charge sheet, fast prosecution, so that the credibility of CBI remains maintained in people's eyes.
Well, so Sanjay Jha, I want to ask you, is this once again a case of shadow boxing and political point scoring? Because the opposition has been claiming the BJP sends CBI ED to whoever they want to in the opposition and nobody in the BJP. And number 2, Mr. Kejriwal is now responding only in terms of the education policy and not really in terms of the offer, the lucrative offer to Mr. Manish Sisodia to join the BJP and be their chief ministerial candidate, or the excise policy itself. I want to ask you, is the real issue getting completely shrouded in this political war of words?
Navika, absolutely. It's a very pertinent question, and it also shows you as to how political parties in India treat the audience, the people of India, with such contempt. They insult the collective intelligence of this country. Saurabh was waxing eloquent for a good 10 minutes about the entire liquor policy. But, anybody will ask themselves this question, that if the BJP made some kind of an offer to Mr. Sisodia to break Aam Aadmi Party and join them, there can be nothing more sensational than AAP making a public disclosure of it. I would say the BJP is definitely capable of doing that. I'm not denying it. But I'm actually intrigued as to why is the Aam Aadmi Party sitting on it. If there is an SMS message or a WhatsApp, I mean, you don't have to do a sting operation on that sort of. You should come publicly and disclose that right away. I think the country has a legitimate right to know if this is the kind of game that the BJP is playing. And if you're then making just a wild accusation, then it brings me back, Navika, to what I consider the ultimate hatchet job, the biggest con job done on the people of India, which I considered is the 2011 India against corruption crusade against the UPA. And I say so with responsibility. Allegations were made But today, if Mr. Narendra Modi is the Prime Minister and Arvind Kejriwal is the Chief Minister, they did it on their scoot and shoot politics, because they destroyed the UPA, no charges were proven, the 2G case was thrown out, and both these parties gained politically. So when I watch the AAP and the BJP having a political slugfest, I tell myself, this is divine intervention or divine retribution. Ultimately the chickens come home to roost. And today the same immoral, unethical politics that both these parties have played, they are now at each other's throats. And we all know, Navika, what is the politics at the moment. There is no doubt a traction that Aam Aadmi Party has gained. I'm not denying it. But having said that, they are both capable of the most vulgar and very often a malicious attack on each other. Let the best man win.
Well, high level of morality coming from you, Sanjay Jha, supporting the Congress party. Read Milind Deora and what he said about the Congress being part of the Mahavikas Aghadi, and morality will, take a dip in the Arabian Sea after that, and the high moral ground that you're taking. But Saurabh Bhardwaj, pertinent question raised by Mr. Sanjay Jha as well. The whole country wants to ask you that this is your chance to nail the BJP. So if there is an offer that has been made in the manner that you say it has, why are you hiding? What can be a better time? Are you waiting for some more ministers of your cabinet to be arrested before you will come out and say this? Or then, should your bluff be called, and what Sanjay Jha says, you are back to shoot and scoot?
Navika, first thing, I request you with my folded hands, you can call me on your channel for 5 hours. And you can ask me all questions around the liquor policy, and I'll be patiently answering all of them.
Fair enough. Right now I'm asking you about the phone call that has been recorded.
I'll come to the phone call.
Which will not take 5 hours at all. The phone call and the offer will not take more than 3 minutes. Play the audio.
No, I understand, Navika, as a senior editor, as a person who is a seasoned journalist, you would want to see the proofs, and if I was in your shoes, I would have done it so. But I'm a very small player in my party. I cannot decide that I will play it in your show. I cannot decide it. So let it be how it has been decided. Now my request is that any question you want to ask about the liquor policy, you ask me. But my problem is, Navika, that in every channel, in every debate, they ask the same questions, I give them the answers, and then they say, Aam Aadmi Party is not answering my questions. Now let me answer 144 crore issue. Now 144 crores were waived off for the licensees on lieu of Corona lockdown. This policy came on 17th November 2021. In January, February 2022, there was Omicron wave where people were not hospitalized. Not many people died, but Delhi government had ordered a lockdown. So all these liquor shops were closed. After the lockdown was evaded or closed or stopped, there was an even odd policy where only half of the shops were opening. And then there was a reduction in the timings when the shops can open. Now all these licensees went to the High Court, like the licensees of railways, like the licensees of MCD. Now MCD also gave concession to the toll tax licensee. Railways also gave the concession to their licensees. But you don't call it a scam. But when we have given that concession to our licensee, these licensees were supposed to pay 30 crores to the government every day. If they are not opening their shops, how can they pay 30 crores? Then the High Court ordered that the government of Delhi should decide. Now let me come to the 30 crore issue which my lawyer friend was asking. I would like to answer that also. Now there was a zone which is called the airport zone. Now that zone has got 10 shops which can be opened only in the airport. That was a special zone. Now the condition for that zone was that if a licensee bids highest, he has to open the shops in the GMR airport. Now there was a bidder who bid it for 235 crores and he was the highest bidder, which we call H1. He said that now I will open 10 shops in the GMR airport because I am the highest bidder. GMR said, who are you? I will not allow you to enter my airport because I have a contract with another party. This guy who was the highest bidder went to the High Court. He said, how can GMR disallow me to get into the airport because I have got a license from Delhi government? Now High Court says,
so then it's
I'm
not
just coming to it.
No. So then it's not about whether the person should have been refunded the money. The question is, did the Delhi government have the right to auction something where they were not authorized to auction? So
we have been doing it for 20 years.
Navika.
We have been doing it for 20 years. Just let me complete. Navika, just let me complete.
But you
Navika,
will not,
just let me complete.
but you are saying that
Just
the
let me
time
complete.
you will talk about the liquor vans, but you will not talk about the new twist that has come. The new twist is the phone
I've
call.
talked about it. Navika, I can talk about that also. Now what I am saying is, Navika, what we are saying is not bluffing. We have examples of Narayan Rane. We have example of Hemant Biswa Sharma. We have Mukul Roy. We have Shubhendu Adhikari. All those people are those people who were allegedly the most corrupt people in their states. BJP had run a militia campaign against
all right.
them.
Ishkaran Bhandari coming in. Ishkaran Bhandari coming in. Ishkaran, just because the BJP lured other people, so therefore they've lured Manish Sisodia even at a time when they know all his phones would be tapped and they could be caught out. Even before Manish Sisodia could record them, the CBI would have recorded him. Even then they made a call.
Government only.
Now Navika ji, let us take the basic duty of a citizen. You see a crime being committed, you report it to the police or the investigative authorities. Here we have a political party, elected leaders saying we have information about a cognizable offense. We know it's a grave, serious offense, but neither would we register a criminal complaint, nor would we go to court with a complaint, nor we talk to the media about it. So that, I think, is failing your duty as a public servant. So at the very least, if you have the evidence, please register a case. That is the duty of every citizen, more so ever elected people who are representing
Akashdeep Muni, is the onus not on the Aam Aadmi Party now to record an FIR or a criminal charge on this where such an offer is being made to Mr. Manish Sisodia? You're on mute.
I will be talking upon the shoot and scoot policy.
You can't decide. I'm asking you a question.
I'm replying on the question.
Okay.
We were talking about the shoot and scoot. Recently, today Kapil Mishra ji tweeted that Kejriwal ji fell on the feet of Sisodia ji today in the morning and requested him not to reveal things. Can he provide some evidence upon that? Did he provide some evidence upon that? Did he provide any audio-visual clip? No. This is an abstract example of shoot and scoot. And as
but Dr. Akashdeep, Mr. Kapil Mishra is a nobody. He doesn't hold any constitutional position or other position. I'm asking about the charge made by a deputy chief minister who is holding a constitutional position. You'll have to treat them differently, slightly.
Everybody is treating differently. The thing is that it will be decided by the Aam Aadmi Party when they want to provide the evidence.
All right. GVL Narshimha Rao, if Kapil Mishra can shoot and scoot, so can Manish Sisodia. How do you respond to that?
Navika.
I don't think that deserves a response. But let me, the great explanation given by our friend Saurabh Bhardwaj, the priority of Aam Aadmi Party
Saurabh Bhardwaj.
To relocation, Saurabh Bhardwaj, sorry Saurabh. So to relocation of all the liquor shops in Delhi, that seems to be their priority. And his logic that people will not go to Kailash colony from Greater Kailash, which is 500 meters away, but would go to Gurgaon to buy liquor because it's not available next door.
From Chhatarpur
it
they'll go to
sounds
Gurgaon.
very, very facile. And
No, from Mahipalpur
no, they'll go to Gurgaon, but not go
from
to the
Narela, they will go to
next
Haryana.
door. And this
Yeah.
whole thing was done. The whole thing was done to only to offer these shops to the biggies in the industry, with whom they have a collusive understanding. I think they have used this logic, or rather this pseudo logic, to benefit certain individuals and to make profit out of it. It's a clear case of corruption. And I want to ask Saurabh once again, why did you call out the policy? Why did you withdraw it?
Should I answer it?
If you find that there is nothing wrong with it.
Should I answer it?
Yeah, please tell me, why did you withdraw, Saurabh?
You did not let me complete when I was answering this.
No. That's a long-winded debate on what are the charges by the CBI, what is the response of the Delhi government in that, and that battle will come out in the court. The question today is, suddenly we have a situation in which there is a startling charge that is made. A charge of the BJP trying to lure away the Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi with some lucrative offers. Is that right? If the BJP has indeed offered such a position, do you think the Aam Aadmi Party should make that absolutely clear and bring that into the public domain? Or should they file a case of criminal intent by the BJP? Whichever way you look at it, this controversy is not dying down anytime soon. But the biggest question that people are looking at, is this all about the Gujarat elections? If the CBI charge is to put the Aam Aadmi Party on the defensive, and that's the BJP's game plan, then is the Aam Aadmi Party milking this to create a victim card and play the elections in Gujarat? We'll keep asking that question, because that's what people of India are asking tonight. As I thank all my panelists, the biggest developments in this story will keep getting reported here on this very channel, Times Now. But let's move to the other side, where we are looking at lawlessness in Bihar. Ladies and gentlemen, Sushasan Babu is facing a big test in Bihar. Anger spilled onto the streets of Patna this afternoon, with hundreds of aspiring teachers protesting against the delay in recruitment. Protesters were lathi-charged and water cannons were used against them. What was shocking was the display of a bureaucrat's high-handedness. KK Singh, Patna's additional district magistrate, can be seen in these visuals mercilessly assaulting a protester as he lay on the ground,